What's up, guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today we're going to talk all about the new tarot cards found in the new X of Swords set and how to use them and, some basic tips and tricks like that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, you guys, so what is a tarot card? It is one of these cards that now come in the X-Men X of Swords set, and there's also an X of Swords organized play event set that will also have some of these. You can also pick them up. You get a whole 5-card deck of them in the miniatures game, the starter set for X of Swords. So there's plenty of ways to get all of them. They are spread throughout a lot of sets, so if you want to pick up all like 72 of them, it is a bit of a hassle, but you don't really need all of them unless you just want to collect them. They basically all do something like this. When a character uses charge, they modify speed +2. And for another example here, here's one that says when a character uses leadership, increase the result of the roll by +1. So most of these cards correspond to a specific power. So in this case, Pentacles, all the Pentacles are the speed powers, Wands are all of the damage powers, and then you have Swords, which are all of the attack powers. So this one says when a character that can use Precision Strike makes an attack, the attack can't be evaded and damage taken can't be reduced below 2 instead of 1. So you can see it kind of just like adds something to the power, makes it a little more powerful. When a character uses Exploit Weakness to make a close attack, after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to each opposing character adjacent. So again, it's just adding damage when using Exploit. When you use Super Senses, increase the roll by +1. So I think you get the gist of it. Then there's also these Arcana cards, like this one, the Devil. When a character attacks after resolutions, deal them 1 penetrating damage for each 6 in the finalized attack roll. So the Arcana cards are kind of just like some extra bonus effect for different situations. And this one, for every 6 you roll. And then there's another one I have here somewhere. There he is. So this one is Temperance. Whenever a standard character successfully breaks away, that character's controller gains 1 mission point, maximum 3 per turn. So you can see that the ones that aren't labeled Swords, Cups, Wands, or Pentacles are the Arcana cards, and those are going to be something different, whereas all of the other ones are going to correspond to a certain power. So I just wanted to get that out of the way to kind of give you an idea of what the cards do. But now we'll take a look at the actual rules for how to use them. And if you guys want to get one of these awesome handy-dandy little rules cards for the tarot cards, you can get it in the X of Swords miniatures game starter set thing. So it comes with, like I said, a deck of 5 cards and this awesome rules card. So you can just keep this handy with you. So it says here, during forced construction, each player may build a tarot deck of 5 to 12 cards following these rules. Tarot cards are unique, so that means you can't play more than one of any card. The deck must include at least 1 tarot card of each suit: Pentacles, Swords, Cups, and Wands, and a major Arcana card. So that's why it's a minimum 5-card deck, because you have 1 of each suit and 1 major Arcana card. And then the deck cannot include more than 2 cards of the same suit or more than 4 major Arcana cards. So again, that's why the maximum is 12, because if you have 2 of each suit, that'd be 8, and then 4 Arcana cards, of course, is 12. So that's why you have the 5 to 12. And then at the beginning of the game, if a player brought a tarot deck, they shuffle it and place it face down near their play area. So basically all you do is you just shuffle your little tarot deck, and then you just place it face down, not on the map, of course, off to the side somewhere, probably just by all of your other Heroclix cards for your figures on your team. But then moving on here, it says playing tarot cards at the beginning of each turn before resolving any other game effects. If the active player has a tarot deck, they draw a tarot card from their deck and put it into play, face up, according to these rules. When a tarot card is put into play, its effect becomes active. If the effect is a trigger, the active player resolves the effect first. So you have to draw a card first before you do anything on your turn, before you roll for leadership, before you roll for willpower, anything like that. So that way, if you happen to have this card out that says you get +1 to your leadership rolls, basically you'd pull that card, you'd immediately get the +1 to any of your leadership rolls after that, but then on your next turn you couldn't choose to do something like, oh, let me roll for leadership and then draw another card. It's not going to work like that. You have to draw the card first before you resolve any of your other beginning of turn effects. So, you know, that's nice. So there's no abuse to that, pulling off something like this twice per turn or something, or, you know, twice in a game, I guess. So only the topmost face-up card is active/in play. If a player already has an active tarot card when drawing, place the drawn card on top of the previous tarot card, and that previous tarot card leaves play. Resolve any effects that occur when a card leaves play before effects of the newly drawn card. So I don't currently know, as of filming, if there's any cards or Heroclix figures that do this. I haven't seen any yet, but like I said, doesn't mean there aren't any. If you had this card in play and you draw your next card, and maybe this card or your figure said something along the lines of, when a tarot card leaves play, do something, then you would first have this one leave play, activate that effect, and then play this card. So just keep that in mind. If you have any effects that activate for a tarot card leaving play, that will happen before the effects of a card coming into play. I don't really see that happening often. Like I said, I haven't seen any cards that do anything like that yet, but it's good to keep in mind in case they do have some effects like that. But moving on, the next thing here is if a player draws a tarot card with the same name as another player's active tarot card, they place the drawn card on the bottom of their tarot deck and draw a new tarot card instead. So because both players can have a tarot deck, both players can be, you know, drawing and playing tarot cards every turn. So if occasionally you happen to put the same one in play as your opponent, just remember that you can't have two of the same in play at the same time. So you just put it, you would just be like, oh, I got the same one, so I'm going to put that at the bottom of my deck and flip over a new one. Boom. Just like that. Pretty easy. And then this last thing here says, when a player would draw a tarot card but has no cards left in their tarot deck, they reshuffle all of their tarot cards to form a new tarot deck, then draw a card from that deck. So I think that's one of the most interesting rules, is once you flipped over all your tarot cards and you run out, and then you go to draw one at the beginning of your turn, but there's none there, so you just take your stack of your whole tarot deck you've already used, just reshuffle it a little bit, put it face down, and draw a new one. Boom, there you go. So your tarot deck will never run out. You can never just kind of, you know, wait it out and hope your opponent runs out of cards or anything. They'll just reshuffle and go through the same 5 again. Now, I think that's one of the reasons why it's best to play just a 5-card deck. Just pick 5 cards that work the best for your team, and just stick with that, because you're going to want to see, there's like 5 effects that you're going to want to see every time, or at least the lowest amount of cards possible. Just pick like the best cards that work the best for your team, and try to keep it as low as possible. That way, you know, you might be able to cycle through it twice. Unlikely, I know. I would say that a normal Heroclix game probably would be over after 5 or 6 turns. But in testing, I have played through a 5-card deck once or twice, and had to reshuffle and get through another card or 2. So it does happen occasionally, and you could end up seeing the same effect more than once. So really quickly, we'll just run through like a couple fake turns or something to kind of give you the gist of it. You know, when you read a long card full of rules, it can sound confusing. It's actually really simple. So let's say both of these are off the map on the side, and you have Heroclix figures here, and you're battling it out. You're moving around, shooting, punching, whatever, fun stuff, you know? So basically, at the beginning of your turn, you draw a card from your tarot deck. Okay, cool. All my characters have +1 on their super senses rolls. And it's not just your characters. This is actually all characters. So don't forget that your tarot cards could potentially backfire on you. So if you get this card, you have to be careful that all of your opponent's characters will have super senses +1 as well. And then if they were to flip over a card at the beginning of their turn, all hit characters get Battle Fury, even if this card is not in play. So this one especially can be a double-edged sword. You hit, You can give them Battle Fury, which means they can't make ranged attacks or be carried, which could be good, but they also can't be mind controlled or incapacitated, and they also ignore shape change. So I have already seen this one backfire, giving somebody Battle Fury, and then on their turn they use it to punch somebody that has shape change so they can ignore the shape change. So there's things like that, because both card effects are in play for both sides, for both teams. Both you and your opponent can use the effects of any active tarot cards. But then on your next turn, you flip over your card, boom, there you go. And now you get Precision Strike that can't be reduced below 2 and can't be evaded. So that's awesome. But we were just playing this card with the Super Senses, so maybe we have a lot of characters with Super Senses on our team. Well, we have to be careful, because now if our opponent, on their turn, when they flip their card, and maybe they want to attack us and they happen to have Precision Strike, we can't dodge it with any of our Super Senses. So you do have to be careful about those kinds of things. This one gives bonuses for knockback that gives it up to 6 squares, and you can choose the direction if you use Force Blast. So maybe they have somebody that has like a cool free Force Blast and they're going to move your characters around. You probably aren't running Force Blast, so you may not be able to use that card. But anyway, on your next turn, you just flip over another one, and now you have this effect. So it just kind of goes back and forth like this. You'll each have 2 effects in play, or if one person doesn't have a tarot deck, there's just going to be the 1 effect in play. I actually think tarot cards are very well balanced because of that fact that it's not just for you, it affects your opponent too. So, there's a lot of potential for you to capitalize on your opponent's cards being out. And maybe they flip one, and oh look, this one gives Flurry, or at least if you have Flurry and you miss one or both attacks, then after resolutions you can make a close attack. So maybe I have some Flurry on my team. Maybe I run in and charge and Flurry and miss one attack, and I get to make a 3rd attack. So you can really capitalize, like I said, on your opponent's cards as well as your own. But you have to worry about your own cards backfiring on you just the same. So, I think it's really balanced mechanic. There's no point cost to any of these cards. I meant to mention that earlier, but yeah, there's no point cost to any cards. As you can see, there's no point value anywhere on the card, nowhere on the back, nothing like that. This thing didn't bring up anything like 1 point per card or anything. It's nothing like that. No points. It's just free to play this if you want, as long as you're playing, the specified 5 to 12 cards per the rules. And just every turn you just flip one and see what you get. So I think it makes games a little more fun and interesting, because there's this element of chance on both sides that you never know. But yeah, I find that it really doesn't make like a huge impact yet in any of my testing. I have, I've tried it building like a 7 or 8 card deck of good stuff. Didn't really see any of the right cards at the right time. And I've tried building even just like a 5 card deck of just specifically, things that might work. And again, I feel like it didn't really make too much of a difference. So, I feel like you could, if you want to be, really min-max about it, I would suggest playing as few cards as possible. But I could also see playing as many cards as possible and just hoping you get the right one at the right time. I mean, a lot of teams nowadays have a lot of different powers and abilities to use. And all these weird Arcana cards do all kinds of crazy things too. So maybe you can get lucky and get some cool combo. But yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, most of these cards just correspond to a single power. So they're just going to be giving one single power a boost for a turn, or a round, I should say, both you and your opponent's turn. And really the hardest thing is just remembering to draw them at the beginning of the turn before you roll for leadership or anything. That's honestly been, I think, the hardest part of it for me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about them in the comments. Have you guys played around with them at all yet? Do you have any other questions that maybe I didn't answer here? Feel free to let me know, and I will do my best to help you there in the comments as well. But that's going to do it for this one. All right, guys, so that does it for this how-to video. If you learned something, make sure you smash that like button. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on these new tarot cards. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Are you going to use them or not? Let's talk about it. And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. But if you guys would like to help support the channel even more, you can of course check the links in the description for our Patreon and now our new channel memberships. So you can see your name here in the credits, as well as some other awesome bonuses, so make sure to check that out. But that's going to do it for this one, so thanks again so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.